Hey everyone, this is Umair, and today I'd like to talk about the opportunities for recouping massive amounts of enterprise software waste within organizations, which Gartner estimates to be approximately 30% of spend. And if you look at Gartner's report from last year in 2023, $850 billion was spent on enterprise software, which is up 9% from the year prior, and we expect this number to continue to climb based on the estimates from Gartner. If you double click into software, we see a range of subcategories from IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, and beyond. Now, the reason why we've got SaaS specifically highlighted here is because of the growth in SaaS spend over the years, but perhaps more importantly, the fact that pretty much anyone within an organization can spin up a SaaS service. All they need is a credit card, either personal or corporate, and they can subscribe to a service online with minimal governance and even fewer controls to prevent them from doing so. So the opportunities within SaaS are significant. Now, if you don't want to take Gartner's 30% estimate, how about we half that to 15% or even go lower to 10%? What could it mean to recoup 10% of your enterprise software spend and reinvest that in your people or in other technologies and tools that through better adoption can produce better return on investment or can improve your end user experience, your customer experience, or perhaps even reinvesting that back in other buying centers within your organization that are responsible for growing whatever product or service you offer or to grow the customer base associated to those products and services. We believe that it shouldn't be complicated to recoup some of this spend, especially because we're able to extract a lot of metadata around the software that you're using within your organization today, as well as the spend associated to them and the contracts that govern that spend. What I'm going to show you in a moment is how connecting all of these data sources into a single platform will not only offer you visibility for starters, but through workflow automation, where you can set thresholds for what constitutes low usage, you can start to quickly see all of the identified candidates that could be reclaimed based on your provided thresholds for low utilization. And then you can quickly recoup those through automated workflows, either unsubscribing users within systems, uninstalling software that's installed on end user devices, and start to show back value of the investment in ServiceNow automation technology to the near 30% cost optimization landscape that's available to you. Now, here's a quick picture on how we're going to do this. The first thing we're going to do within the ServiceNow platform is start to capture all of the software usage data that's available to us from all of the sources that you would integrate into the platform. So all of the end user compute software that's available through solutions like Microsoft Intune, Microsoft System Center or Endpoint Configuration Manager, or several other network monitoring or systems management discovery sources that you've likely already invested in and are using for other purposes within the organization, like device management, for example. Those systems of record will produce a ton of valuable data around not just what's installed on devices, but how that software is likely being used. In absence of those third-party technologies, ServiceNow also offers both agent-based as well as agentless discovery solutions that will crawl your network in a secure manner and report back all of the software and the utilization associated to that software in your environment. Once we've uncovered all of the usage data, through capabilities on the platform, you can start to create what we call reclamation rules, which are based on thresholds that you can define, asking questions like, hey, if you haven't used the software for more than X number of hours in the last 30, 60, 90, or whatever number of days you'd like to prescribe, I'd like you to generate an automated reclamation candidate for me. You can also configure automated communications to go back out to the user on whose device the software is installed, informing them that their utilization is low and that they may be able to contribute to savings for their business unit or for the organization at large. If they choose to recoup that software license back into the pool, they can do so simply by saying they don't need it. If they do require the software, you can allow them to retain the software, or you can even configure the workflow so that it goes to their manager or their business unit head for approval to retain software that currently has low utilization. You'll find very quickly that most organizations are willing to participate in giving back by reducing their spend and producing value for their business unit. A lot of organizations can even gamify that experience to see which line of business unit, or department has contributed the most to cost optimization. And some of that money can be reinvested back in the form of rewards to those lines of business. Once the workflow runs within the platform, users are presented with those opportunities to either uninstall the software, reallocate those licenses back into the pool so that another user can pick them up when they come in to request that software down the road, or simply to terminate that license altogether. There's several ways, what we call subflows, for that workflow, and there's various personas that would need to get involved in making those decisions, as I mentioned earlier. Now, let's pivot to a live ServiceNow instance where we can see this in motion. So what you're seeing now is the ServiceNow platform, specifically the software asset workspace, which is part of the software asset management application on the platform. This is a licensable product. If we go into the license operations module along the left, here we should be able to see all of the software that's, first of all, installed within the organization, which is within the discovery models view. This takes all of the raw data that's uncovered from all of your system's discovery and network monitoring tools, and you can have multiple tools feeding the ServiceNow platform, and it'll start to normalize where it's possible all of the raw data that it finds into a schema where the platform can understand exactly what's installed, broken out by publisher, product, version, and edition where that's available. This is possible with the software library that ServiceNow includes in our product, and that library has over 4 million products across hardware and software. If we go into the content lookup module on the left, you can get a glimpse to see all of the software within the content library. So we have over 382,000 software products within the library. We include information like whether the software is licensable, whether it's freeware, if it's a child component, and so on, so that you can quickly see where all of your enterprise software spend is coming from. And more importantly, you can go back and see which of the software titles that are installed within your environment are even licensable. So I can go in and configure this list and search for product type. And if I bring that up to the top here, and once I hit OK, I should be able to see the type of software that's installed in my organization. So that's step one, giving us visibility in a normalized and standardized fashion. The next phase is to look at the usage associated to the software that's installed in my environment. Speaking of which, usage now refers specifically to how often the product was used, not whether it was installed on a device. If I wanted to see whether software is actually installed on a device, I can simply click into any one of these discovered software models. And once I'm in the model record, I can see all the devices on which the software is installed. And if those devices were associated to individuals, I can bring in those columns from here. So I can see who that device was assigned to and so on. Now, if I wanted to see how often the software title was used, this is where I would find it within software usage. It's important to note that not all software discovery sources are built equally when it comes to reporting detailed usage data. Microsoft's SCCM, or System Center Configuration Manager, otherwise known as Endpoint Configuration Manager, tends to be the gold standard when it comes to reporting on deep software usage on Windows devices. That feature within the Microsoft stack is referred to as metering or asset intelligence. Microsoft's more current Intune device management solution, does not currently offer metering, although we're aware that Microsoft is working on it and is expected to see it in their 2025 roadmap. Other technologies like ServiceNow's agent-based solution also offers excellent software discovery and software metering data to ingest into the platform. There are other discovery sources which may offer good data, but may not be best in class. I would recommend you work with your ServiceNow account team to engage the appropriate solution consultant to determine whether or not your existing investments in systems management, network monitoring, device management solutions will be able to produce this depth for you, or whether you would need to make an additional investment in ServiceNow's discovery capabilities. Now, once we're able to get this data into the platform, you can start to see the name of the individual and the products that they're using, specifically when the last time was that they used the software. You can even pull additional telemetry to see on a month by month or year by year basis what the usage counts were, if that data is available to collect. Now, once we're able to collect all of this data, we can start to create reclamation rules based off of this data. To do that, we're just going to go into the All Application Navigator, and we're going to type in reclamation rules and open that up. Now here you'd be able to define rules that are product specific, whether it's installed software on your end user devices, or if it's SaaS applications which you have integrated into the platform. The data that we saw earlier around usage was based on installed software. So let's take a look at, for example, Adobe Illustrator. Now this is me creating a very specific reclamation rule for anybody that has Adobe Illustrator installed on their device. I can define what that rule looks like by saying the last 6 months, the last month, the last 2 months. Here's the minimum number of hours the software must have been used for. Again, when we're talking about used, we're talking about the software actually being executed, opened, and in use, as opposed to simply installed in the background. Based on what rules you set here, you can have the platform automatically create what we call a reclamation candidate. You can also have the platform notify the end user on which the device is installed that has not used the software for beyond the period that you've identified. You may also choose to auto reclaim the software regardless of whether the notified user responded. This is often helpful for applications that are centrally funded by IT, for example, where notifying the user is more a nice to have, but you're not necessarily relying on their response to make a reclamation decision. Depending on how strong your ITAM and software governance policies are within your company, you may be able to apply this rule to more than just central or IT funded applications. Once you've created these rules and allowed them to run in the background, the platform will automatically start to create those reclamation candidates. I'm going to return back to the software asset workspace, and now I'm going to pivot to the license usage module. Within the license usage module, you're not only going to be able to see your license compliance positioning for each publisher, but you're also being able to see all of the removal candidates that get generated based off of those low usage thresholds that you had created across installed software as well as any subscription software that you've connected. And as you can see here, I can see a list of all of the software that's either ready for me to reclaim or software that I've already reclaimed through previous iterations of this exercise. I can filter this list to show me only software that's now ready for reclamation. So this would be my potential opportunities to reclaim and recoup some savings. Now, when it comes to your SaaS applications, the usage data comes not through a discovered agent or network management solution, but it comes to us directly from the SaaS publisher through whom we've created an integration. To see that, we're going to go into Software Asset Analytics. And the first tab you're going to see here is the SaaS Overview tab. This is going to give you a list of all of the connected SaaS applications and all of the subscriptions that are owned and assigned within those individual tenants that you're now connecting to. So you may have connected to Office 365, Adobe Cloud, Zoom, DocuSign, WebEx, Google Docs, and several others. You're able to see at a quick glance, because we're getting all the usage data associated to the subscriptions that you've assigned in those tenants, we can see exactly which ones are stale. While I may have 7,000 stale records in Google, the financial ramifications of that are considerably lower than, for example, PagerDuty, where I have an opportunity to recoup $330,000 in licensing simply because the cost perhaps of PagerDuty may have been higher. So let's go into that record here. So now I should be able to see all the subscriptions for PagerDuty that are stale. And what this is showing me right off the bat is it's showing me how this number may have changed over time. Some periods you may have had people starting to actually use the software, but then it dips below and then goes back up. So you can scan back in time to see how this may have changed and evolved over time. But in this case, because this is demo data, it's pretty static. It's been the same for a long time. Now, if I toggle show records here at the top, now I should be able to see all of the individual records. In this case, there's 925 subscriptions of PagerDuty, which are ready for reclamation. And as you can see, there's two different types of PagerDuty licenses I have here. I've got the full user license, which is valued at almost $700. And I've got an additional type of license within my PagerDuty environment, which is called a stakeholder user, which is significantly lower. But now I have full visibility into all the types of licenses for this specific publisher and the utilization, which is currently low based on the threshold that I had defined. If I go back onto the overview page for SaaS, you can now start to track all potential savings that you have over time. And as you can see here, initially I had a relatively higher number. And as that number dips down, I can see that I may have reclaimed some of those potential software optimizations, which is why I can see those actual savings spike up here. So this is a good place for you to track whether you're actually realizing the value from these potential savings or not. And this can be yet another KPI to report back up within the organization. Hopefully this video was useful in identifying how ServiceNow enables organizations to recoup some of that 30% estimated software waste from Gartner. And just remember that if it's not 30%, it's going to be 20. If it's not 20, it's going to be 10. It's going to be some percentage of software within your organization that you are underutilizing or not utilizing at all. And this just helps you accelerate those savings opportunities so that you can reinvest in other areas that are more relevant. Thank you for watching and have a great day.